Bear with me here. I generally try not to trash movies really badly too often, and a lot of times I try to find something positive to say about a movie, even if it's one that I didn't enjoy. But in the case of Halloween 2, I'm afraid there's just nothing good to report about this movie. I didn't really love the first Halloween film, the Rob Zombie one, partially because I am such a huge fan of the Halloween franchise. The original Halloween by John Carpenter ranks as probably my single favorite horror movie of all time. The idea of remaking it was not something I was a really big fan of, but I was curious to see what Zombie would do with it, so I went and checked it out. And ultimately, I can't say I liked it very much. The first half of the film I really hated. Once they got Michael Myers into the mask and sort of kind of just started to do the typical slasher film stuff, at least I could enjoy that aspect of it. But it was a dark, brutal film that I did not particularly enjoy that much. Still, when Halloween 2 came out, I, being the die-hard Michael Myers and Halloween fan that I am, decided I needed to watch it, and unfortunately, I regret that decision. It's 2 hours of my life that I will never get back. And let me start off by addressing that. It's a 2 hour long film. I don't know what Rob Zombie was thinking, but I can't remember the last horror film that was 2 hours long, or ever needed to be. Horror films are kind of like comedies. With really, really rare exceptions, they should never go over 90 minutes long. I don't know why Rob Zombie thought this film had so much going for it that it needed to be this epic length for a horror film, but it certainly doesn't. What I can say is that Halloween 2 is not only the worst movie in the Halloween franchise by far, it's actually one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. It is ridiculously brutal. It's disgusting. It's way more violent and way more bloody and way more gory than it needs to be. And clearly it shows that Rob Zombie doesn't understand the Halloween franchise in any way, shape, or form. I'd rather watch the crappy Michael Myers sequels like Halloween's 4, 5, and 6 over and over again than ever sit through Halloween 2 ever again. Apparently, the only people that live in Rob Zombie's world are disgusting, toothless, carnival freaks, and that's the type of people who populate this entire movie. There is barely one likable character in this entire film. Even Dr. Loomis, who was somewhat of a good guy in the first film, becomes like a money-grubbing media whore in this movie, completely savaging any sort of connection to the original character as played by Donald Pleasence. Zombie just clearly doesn't get what Michael Myers is about. And that's kind of sad when you're looking at a franchise like the Halloween movies. This isn't the deepest franchise in the world. We're not talking about some kind of drama or an Ang Lee film or even a really smart comedy. We're not even talking about like a Quentin Tarantino kind of film like Inglourious Basterds. We're talking about a slasher movie here. And if you can't even get that right, and in fact not just not get it right, but get it so horribly wrong, then clearly you have some fundamental issues as a filmmaker. And I think that Rob Zombie actually knows how to make films. I'm not a fan of his movies because they generally tend to be too dark and violent for me. But he certainly has talent as a filmmaker. He just chose to ignore that completely with the making of Halloween 2. Normally I would say unless you're a diehard Halloween fan, you should skip this movie. But in this case, I'm going to say even if you're a diehard Halloween fan, you should skip this movie. It is absolutely, utterly terrible. And I'm really, really sorry that I had the misfortune to watch it. However, if you're the type of person out there who does like this movie, the DVD does come with some special features for you, including deleted and alternate scenes, audition footage, makeup test footage, a blooper reel, some music videos, and a commentary with writer-director Rob Zombie. On top of that, you also get some stand-up routines from Uncle Seymour Collins. Excuse me, Uncle Seymour Coffins, which is pretty much not really worth your time. If I haven't already made this clear, you really should avoid Halloween 2. On the plus side, the main character of the film does spend almost the entire movie screaming and crying, and not even because she's being chased by Michael Myers. No, that doesn't even happen till almost the end of the film. No, she's just so psychotically damaged from the events of the first film that she spends the entire second movie screaming and crying, which might be realistic in terms of how that would happen in real life, but it does not make for an enjoyable film experience in any way, shape, or form. So, Halloween 2 gets about the lowest grade I could possibly give a movie. I'm not quite sure what there is below an F, F minus maybe, but that is what this film gets. Definitely watch it at your own peril.